Hey Explorers, I'm Jessica, and today on Exploring the Local Life, I wanted to talk to those of you that are going to be RVing with your kids. How do you socialize them? How do you work really hard to make sure that they don't turn out to be weirdos and only hang out with their parents, right? So on today's video, I'm going to talk about that, some of the ways that you can get your kids out there meeting people and learning in the process. If you are going to be stationary for long periods of time, this is going to be a little bit different for you. It should be a lot easier, I would think, for you to immerse yourself in the local homeschool community. And this can be the case whether you have really young little ones that are like preschool age or elementary, middle, and high school, because local homeschool groups will have children of all the various groups, and they will have different activities dependent on that age bracket. Before I started road schooling, before we were RVing, I was really plugged into the local homeschooling group, and I was able to participate in a lot of different classes put together by that homeschool group. And also we got to meet a lot of friends and things that we still have to this day. So if you're not going to be traveling a lot, I would definitely recommend to jump online and search for homeschool groups in that area, homeschool communities, whether you find them just searching Google, or if you find them on Facebook, you should be able to find a community. And a lot of them are open to folks. They're not going to care whether you're going to be, in an RV or not. They don't care about that stuff. What they care about is the community, kids learning, and making friends, because they're in the same boat. They want their kids making friends and learning in a group as well. Now, if you're going to be traveling, the situation is a little bit different. And I'm going to break it up into different age groups because it's going to be different based on the age of your child. So for preschoolers or younger, I recommend hitting the local library. Almost every single one has some sort of story time, and they have some in the morning and they have them in the afternoon. Some libraries, it kind of depends on the size of the library that you find. And some of them even have younger, like really littles, and then they have kind of preschool age. So you might be able to find that specification. I don't know. They're all different, but you will be able to find a group for you. So it's not just a story time portion, but usually they also have if you've never done this before, they have like a little arts and crafts part, and the kids get to hang out and interact that way. Also, there are different mom groups that are all over the place. Even though you're going to be traveling, if you're going to be anywhere for even 2 weeks, you might be able to go to 2 of the local moms meetings. And then that way you can go with your child and engage with other moms and also other kids. Of course, you would want to make sure that they know, hey, I'm only going to be here for a little while. So that way they're not, I don't know how exclusive or not they may be, but I would be upfront with the situation. And, and if it doesn't work out, you don't have to see them again, right? That's always a bonus. You don't have to worry about that. Another kind of obvious choice, I think, would be to go to a playground, right? If you have younger kids, I would probably go earlier in the morning before 2 o'clock, unless you want them hanging out with elementary school age children, because, the schools usually let out about 2 o'clock. So that way you would have kind of younger kids probably during the day, or either other homeschool kids. Another thing to look for, which, local events, like if there's an art festival, or let's say the local community has a sort of celebration or something that they do, go to it. A lot of them will have like kids activities. And of course, what are you gonna have there? A bunch of kids. So that way your child is interacting with other children. They might have like arts and crafts or things like that. Maybe they even have story time during that festival or something. So just wherever you are locally, do a search and see what's going on. I would do a search within the city and then a search in the county. So that way you can get really local and get involved with those groups. Some of the campgrounds, they have activity centers, and on the weekends or during the summer and different school breaks, they will have activities for kids, whether it's arts and crafts, they have story time, they have all kinds of different things. So definitely search. You will find those things for those little ones. Now, when you get to elementary, middle school, and high school age kids, things change a little bit. And I am going to kind of lump the school age children all together. Sure, the high schoolers aren't going to be doing the same thing as the elementary school children, but as far as the different topics or the level of complexity, but the general activities that I'm going to recommend will be the same for that whole age group. Okay, so I'm going to recommend, again, a library. Sure, your kids might already be past the story time age. They might not be, depending on their level of development. You might have some elementary school kids that still enjoy story time. But the libraries have different activities. Some of them also have festivals. They will have homeschooling classes a lot of times. And also something that you might not think about is that they have after-school programs as well. So your child can participate in those. And depending on the class, they may be drop-in, or you might have to register, or they may be a nominal fee associated with it. It totally depends on the class, the library, and what they're offering at the time. So do your research. Always search for the city for the library. One of my personal favorites, of course, nature centers. I love them, right? I've talked about them before, but they also have the classes, right? They have group classes. So you can go with your child, and some of them maybe drop off, some of them may not, and they have them for different age groups. So don't think that they're going to have only for elementary school. They will have for middle school, and some of them will also have things for high school students, and especially if they have some sort of homeschooling program. That'll work. Local homeschool groups as well. Yes, you're traveling. Yes, you may not be able to be so connected with them, but I would really recommend reaching out and finding out what they have going on. They might have some field trips that you can hop on and participate in. Some of them have also like field days, whether they're playing some sort of sport or it's just a free play. You might be able to hop on some of those while you're in town, and that way your kids can engage with other children in activities. And here's another one, the RV rallies, of course, right? And this could be for little ones too. I didn't specifically put it in that because RV rallies may not necessarily be, I don't know, when they're little, sometimes they're a lot cooler being with mom and dad. And when they get a little bit older, they might want to seek out other kids and families, and all kinds of rallies, even if they're not necessarily specific to families, we'll have families attending. And a lot of times beforehand, everyone's jumping on whatever group, whether it's a Facebook group or if they have some other way to communicate and have a community set up. Everybody talks about that they're going to be there, if they have kids, how many kids, what ages, and what they're into. And then that way you can connect on the internet beforehand, get to know each other, and then meet up at the actual event. And depending on the rally, there may be some activities specific for the children. So that way, again, here we are. And the bonus, of course, of that is that it's not going to be, you're going to have a lot more in common because these people are RVing as well. So another thing is art classes. This is different from maybe nature center or local homeschool groups. There might actually be art galleries in the area that have classes for children. So you might want to contact them or search for them and see what they have available. When we were staying somewhere in Georgia, there was actually like a pottery studio, and it wasn't like a paint the pottery. It was actually making the pottery with, either with your hands or the wheel. And depending on the class, some of them were drop off and some of them were not. So I was really excited to find those. I was like, oh my gosh, I hadn't found those before. So definitely look for those if your kids love art. And of course, any history centers, any museums will also have classes for homeschoolers. They might also have summer camps and things like that you might be able to jump in on. Now, once you've made like those connections, let's say you go to a rally, you made friends with the families. If it's a summer camp or something, you can stay in contact with those families, or if your kids are a little bit older, exchange contact information and stay in touch and make plans to meet up again. I know a lot of RVing families actually will caravan together if the kids and the families all get along together and plan to meet up along their travels, meet up at the rally next year or the next rally coming up, things like that. So, use technology. My kids have friends that are in Florida. Right now we're in Florida, so we're actually been seeing them in person. But when we've been traveling, we've done like video calls and regular phone calls. They've played games online while using chat function. So that way they're able to still maintain those friendships over great distances. Now, if you've got a high schooler, there are a few things that I wanted to speak to specifically on that. Something that you might think about is, again, it depends on how responsible your high schooler is or how comfortable you feel with this, of course, but you can have your child go visit friends, whether they're RVing or in a house or whatever, have your child go fly or drive, depending on their age, again, to go visit and stay with the friend, or have the friend come and join you on your travels. I know of families with high schoolers that have done that, help their kids go see their friends and sometimes spend weeks with their friends, and then the friend comes back and everybody hangs out together for like months at a time. But of course you have to, work that out and see if you're comfortable with that. I think it's awesome. And when our kids are ready, we're definitely gonna encourage that and let them enjoy that time together. Another thing with high schoolers is look to see, while you're traveling, local dances, local clubs, events that are specific to high schoolers. See if you guys can join those. I know that those years can be kind of tricky, being the new person. If it's an established group, usually homeschooling community, it's a little bit different. They're kind of, I don't want to say they're used to kids coming and going, but they're usually a lot more accepting of varying ages hanging out together. They're a little bit less, I would say, exclusionary. Is that even, and even with these dances, a lot of times it won't just be like the core group of homeschoolers usually hangs out. It'll probably be a bunch of different ones coming together. So there's going to be a lot of new faces. So, I would definitely encourage you to have your teen participate in some of these activities. These are just some of the few ways that I think that you can definitely plug in your kids to any activity, and never be shy about asking, searching, finding out what your kids are really into, and just letting them participate. So if you are able to be flexible with your schedule, if your kids really find a community that they're really enjoying, or, maybe they're into theater or some sort of performance type of thing, if they can be like in a 6 week course or something, if you can hang out for that time to give them that opportunity, definitely do it. I mean, hopefully part of the RV life is that, to be able to come and go and be flexible as a family to make sure that everybody's getting what they need. And, I don't want you to discount hanging out with you. I mean, I know everyone's concerned, like, oh my gosh, if my kid doesn't hang out with kids, what's going to happen? They're going to be mature kids is what's going to happen if they get to hang out with mom and dad a lot. I went to school, public school. I did have some friends, but I was an only child myself. And, it made it so that I was able to speak to older folks, people my parents' age. It made me able to communicate better at a younger age because I was communicating with adults much of the time. So it's not really, I mean, I don't really think it's that big of a deal. I mean, don't freak out about it. And certainly don't freak out if you're like, oh my gosh, my child is 8 and there aren't any 8-year-olds around. What am I going to do? Don't worry about it. It doesn't matter. Think about, like, in real life, how often are you sitting next to somebody the same exact age as you? Most of the time once you are, at a school, you're hanging out with people of all age groups and skill levels and all these things. And you guys learn from one another, It's not really like that. The school system is set up with these little, like, all right, all 8-year-olds are here and they learn this, and all these, like, real life isn't like that. So, I encourage you to stop thinking in a very boxed kind of way that all kids have to hang out in the same age groups. No, everybody learns from everybody else. It's good for the young ones to be with older kids and the older kids to be with the younger kids. And if they happen to be the same age, it's not essential. So just chill. I don't want you freaking out about that sort of thing, And as far as hanging out, if you're at a campground and there aren't any organized activities, you looked in the local homeschooling group and there's like none or something, you can't find what you're looking for, but there's other kids in the campground, go ahead and organize something. See if you can, it could be as simple as just having a movie night. You can do like painting. Doesn't matter if you know how to paint either. Get some paintbrushes out, get some canvases at the dollar store. Bam, you got your group together. You got kids coloring and laughing and doing whatever they need to do. Bam, socialization. So, be creative as well and be open to inviting people over to your RV, organize your own things. Let's all go to the pool together. Let's all go on a hike, anything. Definitely come up with something that you can do as a group in your local community while you're local. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope that this video helped you. If you had any fears or concerns regarding RVing with your kids, then hopefully this addressed any of those things and helps you have the confidence that you need to go ahead on the adventure and to really enjoy it. If you have any questions or comments, leave them below. And if you're interested in finding out more about the Road Life Project and activities they will have for your child, please check the description. I have a link to the roadlifeproject.com. Thanks again. Bye.